There's this guy at my company. Mediocre work, seriously, average at best, but somehow he's the one who gets invited to every leadership meeting. He's the one the CEO knows by name. Last month, he got a raise that 3 better performers didn't get, and I cannot figure out what he's doing.
What does he do differently?
That's what's maddening. I can't point to one thing. He just shows up everywhere. He's in the Slack channels commenting. He's at the company events shaking hands. He gave a presentation last quarter that was fine. Not great, just fine. But somehow everyone talked about it for 2 weeks.
Why did they talk about it?
Because he opened with this dramatic personal story, something about nearly going bankrupt before he joined the company. And then he tied it to the quarterly numbers in this way that was, I'll admit, kind of compelling. But the actual data, the analysis, surface level.
And the 3 people who did better work, what did they do?
They sent their reports by email. Thorough, detailed, well-researched, everything you'd want.
And nobody talked about it.
Nobody even opened them, probably.
So you have 3 people with superior substance who are invisible, and 1 person with average substance who is everywhere, and the visible person is winning. Does that make you angry or curious?
Both.
Good. Because the answer to why he's winning isn't complicated, it's just uncomfortable. He understood something the other 3 didn't, that in a world of infinite noise, attention is the first currency. Before anyone can appreciate your work, they have to notice you exist. And most people skip that step entirely. They think quality is enough. Quality is never enough.
But it should be.
Maybe, but should doesn't pay the bills. Think about it from the CEO's perspective. He's got hundreds of employees, thousands of emails, meetings back to back. His attention is the most scarce resource in the building. And when he has to make a decision about who to promote, who to invest in, who to bring into the room, he's working with what's available in his memory, not what's in a file somewhere, what's in his memory. And the person who put themselves there, through presence, through story, through sheer visibility, that's who gets the call.
You're basically describing self-promotion, and I think most people see through that.
Some self-promotion is transparent, yes. The person constantly bragging, constantly steering the conversation back to themselves. People see that and recoil. But that's not what your colleague is doing. He's not saying, look at me. He's making himself interesting. There's a difference. He's telling stories. He's being present. He's creating moments that people remember. And the result is that when his name comes up, there's an emotional charge attached to it. Not just, oh, him. More like, oh, right, the guy with the bankruptcy story who pulled himself together. That charge is attention, and attention is the gateway to everything else.
I still think it's unfair. Those 3 people worked harder.
They worked harder on the work. He worked harder on the perception. And you can argue all day about which matters more, but the person sitting in the leadership meeting isn't the one who had the best spreadsheet. It's the one who made sure the right people knew his name.
So what, we should all just become performers? Turn every interaction into a show?
Not a show, a signal. Every time you interact with someone, a meeting, an email, a hallway conversation, you're either sending a signal or you're sending static. Static is forgettable. It's the polite nod, the safe comment, the report that looks like every other report. A signal is anything that makes someone's brain go, wait, that was different. It doesn't have to be loud, it doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to be distinct.
Give me an example that isn't dramatic.
All right. 2 consultants pitch the same client. Same service, similar pricing. Consultant A sends a polished deck with all the right data and follows up with a standard thank you email. Consultant B sends the same quality deck, but includes 1 page at the end, a handwritten note, scanned in, that says, I spent the weekend thinking about your supply chain problem. Here are 2 ideas I didn't include in the deck because they're not ready yet, but I wanted you to know I'm still working. Who gets the call?
Consultant B, obviously.
Obviously. And was the work better? No, the work was the same. The attention to the client's attention was better. Consultant B understood that the pitch doesn't end when the deck closes. It ends when the client forgets about you. And that handwritten note, imperfect, unfinished, personal, bought more mental real estate than any slide ever could.
Okay, that's smart. But it's also kind of exhausting to be thinking about this constantly. Do I have to turn every interaction into a strategic play?
Not every interaction, but the ones that matter, the ones where opportunity is present, yes. And here's the thing. Most people put 90% of their energy into the work and 10% into how the work is perceived. The people who rise fastest flip that to at least 70-30. Not because the work doesn't matter, it does, but because they've realized that perception is the vehicle that carries the work into the rooms where decisions happen.
70-30 feels extreme.
It is, and some people find it distasteful. But ask yourself, how many brilliant people do you know who are stuck? How many talented, hardworking people who've been in the same position for years, while less talented people climb past them? Talent without visibility is a tree falling in a forest. You can argue that it still makes a sound, but if nobody's there to hear it, does it change anything?
All right, you said there's a historical example in everything. Who understood this?
P.T. Barnum, 19th century America. Now, people remember him as a showman, a circus guy, but what he actually mastered was something much deeper, the mechanics of human attention. When Barnum bought a museum in New York, a failing, dusty collection of oddities that nobody visited, he didn't improve the exhibits first. He started outside. He hired a man to walk a circuit between the museum and several city landmarks, carrying bricks. Just carrying bricks, silently, one at a time, placing them deliberately at certain corners, then picking them up and continuing the loop. No signs, no explanation.
That's bizarre.
Exactly. And within hours, crowds gathered to watch. What is this man doing? Why the bricks? Where is he going? People followed him. They speculated. They argued about it in pubs. And inevitably, the circuit led past the museum, and once the crowd was at his doorstep, curious and excited and already primed for spectacle, they went inside.
He turned a guy with bricks into a marketing campaign.
Before marketing existed as a concept, and the genius wasn't the bricks, it was the understanding of a fundamental truth about human beings. We cannot ignore what we don't understand. Mystery pulls us, the unusual pulls us. We are wired, not trained, wired to pay attention to anything that breaks the pattern. The man with the bricks broke the pattern of a normal New York sidewalk, and that tiny disruption cascaded into sold-out attendance for months.
But Barnum was also kind of a fraud, right? A lot of his exhibits were fake. The mermaid was literally sewn together from a monkey and a fish.
You're right. And that's the tension at the heart of this whole idea. Attention without substance is spectacle. It burns bright and then it collapses, because eventually people look behind the curtain and find nothing. Barnum survived because he operated in entertainment, where the illusion was part of the deal. In business, in careers, in relationships, you can't sustain attention on smoke. Eventually, the substance has to be there.
So what you're really saying is substance isn't optional, but neither is attention. You need both.
And the order matters. Most people build substance first and hope attention follows. It rarely does. The people who break through build attention and substance simultaneously. They make noise and deliver. They get noticed and prove they deserve to be noticed. Because attention without substance makes you a fraud, but substance without attention makes you a secret. And secrets don't get promoted.
What about the people who actively avoid attention? I know people who are private, who do great work quietly, who say they don't care about visibility. Are they just wrong?
Some of them genuinely don't care. And if the goal is personal peace, a quiet life, doing what they love without ambition for recognition, then there's nothing wrong with that. That's a valid choice. But if those same people come to me frustrated that they're being overlooked, that less talented people are getting ahead, that nobody appreciates their contribution, then we have a contradiction. You can't choose invisibility and then resent what invisibility costs you.
That's pointed.
Because I hear it all the time. I just want my work to matter. Great, then make sure people see it. Not in an obnoxious way, not in a self-aggrandizing way, but in a deliberate way. Send the update, share the win, tell the story, walk into the room instead of emailing from outside it. These aren't acts of ego, they're acts of self-advocacy. And there's nothing shameful about advocating for yourself.
What about the flip side? The person who courts attention and gets it but the wrong way. I've seen people become known for the wrong thing. The office loudmouth, the person who's visible for all the wrong reasons.
That's the risk, and it's real. Attention is a neutral force. It amplifies whatever's underneath. If you're competent and thoughtful, attention amplifies that. If you're careless and arrogant, attention amplifies that too. The people who court attention badly are the ones who never ask, what am I being known for? They chase visibility without direction. They want people to notice them without deciding what they want people to notice.
So it's not just about being seen, it's about being seen for the right thing.
It's about controlling the narrative of your own visibility. Every impression you leave is a brick. Sorry, Barnum got in my head. Every impression is a piece of the image people are building of you, and you get to influence what that image looks like. Not control it completely, but influence it. Through what you emphasize, through what you share, through what you let people see and what you keep private.
All right, I want to come back to the guy at my company because I've been sitting here resenting him for 4 months, and now I'm starting to think maybe I should be studying him.
What would you learn?
That being good at my job was only half the equation, maybe less than half, and that the part I've been ignoring, the visibility, the storytelling, the presence, isn't fluff, it's infrastructure. It's the thing that carries everything else.
And the 3 people with the better reports.
They'll keep sending emails nobody opens, and they'll keep wondering why.
Unless
They learn what he already figured out, that the work doesn't speak for itself. You have to give it a voice, put it somewhere people are actually listening.
Yes.
You know what's ironic? I've been invisible my whole career, and I thought that was integrity. I thought staying quiet and letting the work do the talking made me the noble one. Turns out I wasn't being noble, I was being stubborn, and stubbornness dressed up as humility is still stubbornness.
That might be the most honest thing I've heard you say.
Yeah, well, maybe it's time I stopped being a secret.